Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to talk about finding solutions in an interval for an equation with sine and cosine using sum and difference identities. So it sounds really long and complicated, but it's really not. You need two things. You need the sum and difference formulas because that's what it's talking about. And you need either the sine or the cosine function. All right, so this one happens to end up to be a cosine function, but I could have easily supplied a sine function. And it really helps to have one that goes beyond the 2 pi. So the first thing you want to do is just read through the problem and note that our interval is going to be 0 up to 2 pi. So up to 360 degrees, not inclusive. All right? Then we have a formula that we have to match, or we have an equation that we have to match to a formula. And that's where it seems like a lot of work, but it's not. We're just matching it. And then we're going to see if there's more than one solution. So in this one, we have a cosine cosine plus a sine sine. So that matches this one here. So u in this case is going to be the 4x, and v in this case is going to be the 2x. So your cosine 4x plus cosine 2x plus sine 4x sine 2x is going to be equal to cosine of u, which is 4x, minus v, which is 2x, and that's going to equal -1. So if I simplify that a little bit more, I get the cosine of 2x equals -1. Now let's just ignore the 2 for just a second, and I'll show you how to deal with that. So where on this bounds, or on this graph, is the cosine of some theta value equal to -1? Well, it's right here at pi, and it's also at 3 pi. All right, so this doesn't mean that I'm restricted to find my values. It's restricted to find my solutions. So if now I know that this value is equal to pi. So I'm actually going to change my color, and I'm going to say 2x is equal to pi, and 2x is equal to 3 pi. And I could continue this, right? It would be 4 pi too. So let's actually include that one just so you can see. So 4 pi is also, the cosine of 4 pi is also going to be equal to -1. So let's go back to my red. So I have my 2x equals 4 pi. Now let's see, my solution here, x, would equal to pi over 2. And that is within 0 and 2 pi. In this one, my x would be equal to 3 pi over 2. And that's still in my realm. Here, my x would equal to 2 pi. But notice how this is an open interval, which means up to, but not including. So my two answers would be pi over 2, comma, 3 pi over 2. Thanks for joining me.